What is going on, everyone? My name is the California Cougar, and welcome back to another episode of the Survivor Season Review Series. This week we are talking about Survivor Cagayan. This is the 28th season of Survivor, and it's also one of the most remembered seasons for the cast. A lot of big moments happened this season. There was a lot going on. There was an underdog story. There was a guy who just pretty much dominated the entire season. And of course, there was one of the biggest fatal mistakes I think I've ever seen in Survivor since that doesn't involve giving an idol away to someone. But yeah, let's get right into Survivor Cagayan. So, like I said earlier, this is one of the most memorable seasons. And I think I agree with the consensus here. Survivor Cagayan is one of the best seasons of Survivor. And, it really shouldn't come as any surprise. I know I've said in the past that I didn't like well-praised seasons like Blood vs. Water or Heroes vs. Villains. But I absolutely adored this season. This is one of my all-time favorite seasons. Definitely top 5 worthy, if not top 10. But yeah, Survivor Cagayan's just so good. Starting off with this cast. This cast is pretty amazing, if you ask me. It's one of the best casts in Survivor history. It's divided into 3 tribes. Now, the location of this season, it's the same as before. It's in the Philippines again. Who cares? But yeah, the tribes were divided into 3. It was divided into 3 tribes. You have the Brawn tribe, the Brain tribe, and the Beauty tribe. So it was brains versus bronze versus beauty. And so we'll start off with the Brain tribe. The Brain tribe this season was one of the most dysfunctional tribes ever, you could argue. These guys had an average IQ of 130 in real life. Well, they played like they had an IQ of 50. So, well, with the exception of Spencer, and we'll talk about him in a bit. But starting off, you have Garrett, David. These two are dumb. David, for being the president of the Miami Marlins. Yeah, no wonder the Miami Marlins are so freaking bad all these years. Because it's poorly run. But yeah, this guy, the president of the Miami Marlins, first guy voted off. I don't think anybody actually knew that he was an owner of the Miami Marlins, but he definitely played like one. He was terrible. And then you had Garrett, probably one of the biggest idiots ever. For a guy who was on the Brain tribe and who was, super physically fit, you would expect him to go pretty far. Well, the way he played this season, he had the brain of a potato. He just did not make smart moves. He found an idol at the beginning because, David, for some reason, decided he was the weakest member of the tribe. I don't get that. I'll talk about that in a little bit, that little twist. But yeah, he found an idol, and then he gets voted off with the idol in his pocket pretty much right away. How dumb can you be to not know that people were coming for you? He wanted to play so conservatively, and it just did not work. So yeah, and then you have Jatia, arguably one of the weakest survivors ever. And again, another person on the Brain tribe who doesn't really have a lot of brains in her head. She's a nuclear engineer. Spencer said it best. The fact that she was a nuclear engineer is genuinely, genuinely scary. She failed miserably at the puzzle in one of the challenges, allowing the Beauty tribe, who was pretty far behind at that point, to come back and take second place. The Brawn tribe easily won that challenge. But yeah, Jatia, just this weak link of the Brain tribe, and definitely held the Brain tribe back for the first couple challenges. And then you have the big 3 of the Brain tribe. You have Tasha, Cass, and Spencer. These 3 all made it pretty far into the game. I think final 6. Tasha was alright. She was a good challenge competitor. Won 3 immunity challenges in a row at one point. A good ally to Spencer. She also made some decent moves. She was probably the second smartest person on that tribe. And then you have Spencer. And let me tell you, Spencer, one of the best underdog stories ever in my eyes. I mean, he was supposed to be voted off 4th in Jatia's spot. Then he convinced Tasha and Cass to keep him around over Jatia. And then he just went from there. He stayed loyal to Tasha and Cass until the merge came. And then we all know how that went down. But he stayed loyal to Tasha the whole time. And he ended up winning some challenges when he needed to. And he found some idols. And he went all the way to the Final Four. And probably could have won the season if he had made it to the finals, in all honesty. If he wins that final immunity challenge, goes to the Final 3, they probably vote Wu off at that tribal council at Final 4, and then Spencer has a legitimate shot at making the Final 2. And he made a good argument at the Final 4 to Tony to try and keep himself in the game. He made the only argument he could, and I do think he would have won, even if he was up against Tony. I do think he would have won. He was a great competitor, and for a guy that Jeff said had zero chance of winning the game, I gotta say, I think he surprised a lot of people this season. Good player, very good player. And then Cass, of course, the villain of this season. She said she wanted to be a mom villain, and sure enough she was, just flipping on people left and right. Kind of out of control, created a lot of chaos around camp, getting into fights with people like Tony, Trish, all that. She was crazy, but in a good way. In a good way. It was entertaining. It wasn't over dramatic. It was more in a Philip Shepard kind of way, instead of Will from Worlds Apart or Colton kind of way. It was fun to watch. So, yeah, Cass was a good contestant overall, I would say. She was never going to win the game, but she was good overall. And then you have the Braun Tribe. Now, the Braun Tribe, not quite as memorable. Tony, of course, just making some crazy moves, finding idols left and right. He ended up winning the game without winning an immunity challenge, which is pretty impressive considering how big of a target he was the whole time. But finding idols helps. That's what they always say. He was the guy that was always out looking for idols 24/7, as Spencer pointed out. So, yeah, I do think he deserved his win. Wu, I liked Wu. He was likable. Not a good Survivor player. He just kind of rode Tony's coattails the whole time. And everybody saw that. Even though he was arguably more likable than Tony, everyone still voted Tony because everyone knew that Wu, he didn't really do anything. The best thing he did was steal Spencer's idol clue at one point. Which I will say, that was funny. Ninja stealth mode, Sonic the Hedgehog style, bolted out of there. That was funny. But other than that, he didn't really do much. He was just kind of this Fabio type character. He was fun to watch. I liked him, but not a very good Survivor player. And then, of course, you have Cliff Robinson and Lindsay. Lindsay quitting because she got super upset with Trish. Cliff, the nice, gentle giant basketball player. Rest in peace, by the way. He has since passed away, but he was nice. He was a good player to watch for the time being. I remember him on the challenge where you have to hang on the pole. Cliff was so OP in that challenge. He's just holding onto the pole, and he's such a big guy that nobody could get him off the pole. That was just, he was so OP in that challenge in particular. So OP. It was hilarious. He laughed at one point because people couldn't get him off the pole. So hilarious. But yeah, I enjoyed Cliff. It's too bad he didn't go farther into the game. And then you have Trish. Trish was alright, I guess. Didn't really do too much, except kind of be Tony's ally / mother figure. I don't really know what else she was trying to be. And then you have Sarah, the other cop, aside from Tony. She was good this season. She was better in later seasons, I think, but she was pretty good this season. And then you have the Beauty Tribe. Beauty Tribe was alright. You had good players like LJ and Jeffra, although a lot of people would say Jeffra represents her last name very well because she was bland. I thought she was good overall. And then Jeremiah and LJ, I enjoyed them for who they were. Morgan, didn't really care. She was hot. That was just about it for her. Alexis, again, didn't really do much. Bryce, it's too bad Bryce went out super early because I think he had a lot of potential to be a very good player in the game, and I would enjoy seeing him come back for a second season because he did have a lot of potential, but he just got caught up in the wrong alliance at the wrong time, and that ultimately led to his demise. So, yeah, so that's the cast. So, yeah, pretty good cast if you ask me. You have great players like Spencer, Tony, LJ was good, Sarah, and then, of course, you have a few duds in there. But overall, very, very good cast. Now, the moments this season, oh man, there's a lot of them. So, yeah, starting off with the twist at the beginning of the game. They brought the twist that they did in Survivor Tocantins back into this season, and I think it was a very good addition. Each tribe had a team captain. That team captain selected one person who was the weakest member. Like, it wasn't a vote like it was in Tocantins. This was, like, team captain, and that team captain picks the weakest member. And I gotta tell you, I would hate to be put in that team captain spot because people are gonna hold grudges like Morgan did with LJ. But, yeah. So, yeah, Morgan and Garrett and Trish, I think, get sent to their camps. Garrett and Morgan decide to look for idols. Garrett finds his idol. Morgan doesn't. And then Trish decides to get more rice for the group. So, yeah. And if I'm in that position ever, I'm taking the idol 100% of the time. Like, my group just voted me off, so they can go, like Garrett said, we're going to cross that out. Yeah, get that nonsense out of here. So, yeah, I would look for the idol. So there was that. There was Tony finding every single one of his idols, including the special idol, or whatever they called it that season. I think it was the special idol, where you could use it after the votes are read. That OP idol from like Cook Islands and Panama Exile Island. So you had that. Like some of the challenges, especially in the beginning of the game where the Brain Tribe just struggled. Like, even at one point, Sarah tried to throw a challenge for the Brawn Tribe, but the Brain Tribe was so bad. And, of course, I think Wu not wanting to throw that challenge made a huge difference as well. Because if Wu wanted to throw that challenge, he would have. But he didn't want to. And then, of course, you had Cliff shooting the baskets. And, like, they wanted to get rid of Cliff at that point, So, yeah, but Wu didn't really feel good about that. So good on Wu for not throwing that. Like, I never like throwing challenges because it usually leads to bad situations toward like later on in the game, and that could have made a huge difference for the Brawn Tribe. Even though Cliff ended up getting voted out a couple episodes later after the tribe swap, I do think he got kind of swap screwed. He got placed on a tribe with Tony and Trish. I think it was Tony and Trish, which was unfortunate, but I mean, they did have Wu. He had Wu on his side, but that was really it. But yeah, his blindside was fun, though. Cliff's blindside was a fun blindside. Bryce's blindside was good. Alexis's blindside was pretty good. And then, of course, you had the tribal at Final 11 just after the merge, where Sarah got blindsided by not who we thought. Like, that tribal was not what we thought it was going to be. Sarah was the one who was supposed to be in the driver's seat, like, controlling, like, whether she would go with the, I forgot what the tribe names were, Apari tribe or Solani tribe, whatever it was called, Solano, I think. Like, Tony's tribe or Spencer's tribe. We'll just leave it at that. Like, whether she wanted to go with Tony or Spencer. She was supposed to be in charge of that, but then they decided to Trish decided to talk to Cass about it, and that's an underrated move by Trish. That was low-key one of the better moves this season because it made a huge difference in the outcome of the game. Tony, LJ, Wu, they would not have gone as far if it didn't go as planned. So, yeah, I mean, Tony probably would have gotten farthest because he would have kept looking for idols, but yeah, like, they went and they got Cass to help, and Cass ended up working out for them. And Sarah was blindsided. That was one of the best blindsides that season, I think. I don't think anybody saw it coming. So, yeah, it was pretty awesome. Especially since 2 idols were used at that tribal, and both of them ended up being wasted. So, yeah, very, very good move. And then, of course, you have a little bit of a lull, but then you have the LJ boot. That was fun. The Jeremiah boot was fun. Wu stealing Spencer's idol clue was great. Very, very funny moment. Cass and Spencer trying to flip Wu. I think it was Cass and Spencer. Or it might have been Tasha and Spencer. I don't remember. But whenever they went to that challenge where they had to deliver school supplies, I think it was Cass, actually. And then, they try to get Wu on board to get rid of Tony, but Wu's kind of wishy-washy, doesn't really want to go through with it. The Jeff reboot was fun. Tony being super paranoid was great TV, very fun to watch. And then, of course, you have the cast causing chaos, causing these hilarious fights between her and Tony and her and Trish mainly. Those are the big ones. Tony, I'm supposed to speak, I can't do his accent. I'm supposed to speak llama to you. That was just so funny. So funny. And then that tribal council where Trish was voted off, he just imitates Cass going, "Ah!" She calls me an animal, so I'm supposed to talk animal to her. And then he's like, "It's just a joke." And the jury's reaction to that was hilarious. And then Trish goes, Cass flips her off. Sarah's like, and yeah, that was hilarious. Spencer, of course, he was a fun underdog. Constantly kept getting saved at Final 9 and again at Final 7. And then he used an idol at Final 8. And then he couldn't ever get another idol because he kept winning immunities after that. And then they decided to get Tasha out instead of Spencer after Tasha finally lost her immunity challenge. And then it kind of went from there. He tragically lost the Final 4 challenge, had a blown lead to Cass. The loved one's visit was okay. A little bit late, I think, but it was alright. At least they had one, I guess. And then, of course, the Final 3 tribal where Wu wins the challenge. You think he's going to vote off Tony, which would have been obvious. He likely beats Cass at the Final 2. And then he decides to vote off Cass in what was probably one of the biggest Survivor throws in history, up there with Colby Donaldson at the Final 3 in Australian Outback. Definitely one of the biggest throws in Survivor history, as Tony nearly swept the vote in the end. Despite the jury going off on him, criticizing him strongly for his aggressive gameplay, they were all going to vote for Tony anyway because they just wanted to let Tony have it, criticize Tony for his gameplay. They were never going to vote for Wu, I don't think. The only way Wu wins is if he's up against Cass, because Cass was just so disliked at that point by pretty much everybody on the jury that there was no shot that she was ever going to be getting enough votes to win against Wu. And if you saw the Ponderosa video where Cass goes to Ponderosa, silent treatment. Oh my god, they completely ignored her. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, and then Tony, of course, wins the game. He was obviously the best player that season, so very deserving winner, one of the best winners ever. And then we'll get to him again in Winners at War, but yeah. So there's Survivor Cagayan. Survivor Cagayan is one of the all-time greats in Survivor season. It's definitely top-tier Survivor play. Because you just have so many stories. You have so many great, memorable moments. The auction was kind of boring, but, because everyone kept holding out for advantages. But, it's not the worst auction ever. That one we'll get to a little bit later. But, yeah, it was kind of boring. But yeah, overall, Survivor Cagayan, fantastic season. I know I talked about it for a long time, but there was a lot to go over with it. So, yeah, it's definitely a season I would recommend for first-time Survivor viewers. So with that being said, Survivor Cagayan easily gets a 10 out of 10. Alright, and there's my review of Survivor Cagayan. If you have seen Survivor Cagayan, what did you think about it? Make sure to let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button for more of these videos to come in the future. Next week, we of course talk about Survivor San Juan del Sur, so stay tuned for that. And if you haven't seen Survivor Cagayan, I definitely recommend watching it, even if it's the first Survivor season you've ever watched. It's definitely a season that is good for anybody who wants to get into Survivor. Definitely a recommended season. So, yeah, once again, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos to come in the future. And until that next video, once again, my name is the California Cougar. And always remember, stay California cool. Peace!